Baltimore, I'm coming home. We're going to wrap the Live and Alive tour up Saturday, June 28th at the Horseshoe Casino. It's going to be a great night. I got Justin Schlegel from 98 Rock going to be out there with me. We're going to have some surprises. It's going to be a really big deal. Get your tickets now at RyanSickler.com.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pass Studios. I'm Ryan Sickler. Thank you for supporting this show. Thank you for supporting anything I do. I genuinely appreciate it. Look, if you got to have more, then you got to check out our Patreon, the HoneyDew with y'all. I tell you about it every week. It is this show with y'all, and it is the wildest show on Patreon. It's $5 a month. That's it. I'm telling you, it's worth a cup of coffee for hundreds of insane stories. All right. Look, that's the biz, man. You know what we're doing here. We're highlighting the lowlights, and I always say that these are the stories behind the storytellers. I'm very excited to have this guest on here today. First time on the HoneyDew. Ladies and gentlemen, Esther Steinberg. Welcome to the HoneyDew, Esther.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. Before we get into your story right there, promote everything you'd like, please.
All right, this is the big one. New special is out. It's Amazon or Apple. You can get it. It's called Shmere Campaign. Esther Steinberg Shmere Campaign. It's available. And some merch. I'm selling merch. I'm finally selling t-shirts. Trying to raise money for my boob job. And then I am on Bagel Mania every single month, and that's in Las Vegas. So if you're in Las Vegas, come see me and follow me on Instagram, Esther.Steinberg. I'm posting clips, and I've got a YouTube, Esther Steinberg, YouTube/Esther Steinberg. There you go.
All right. You know, we always ask people to send their topics in. I've known you for a while, but I don't know you well enough to know the stuff that you and your husband sent me about your life growing up.
You're like, what?
And I love to learn because there's nobody for me. Like, this show has really made me appreciate comedians again when I started, because I'm like, man, there's nobody that can really come on and take the ugliest, darkest stuff and legit turn it into funny, and then turn it into specials and books or whatever. It's really interesting to sit in this seat and watch the other side. So,
or like you find out everyone has a story. They're just funny and they're just famous.
Look, every one of you guys that come on the Patreon could do it. You just
there's a
didn't
backstory
set
to
off
everyone.
to do that thing. You know, you didn't set off to be a comedian.
Yeah.
You know? Tell us about you. You're from Tampa originally, right?
I'm from Tampa, Florida. And I grew up wanting out.
All right. Now, do you have a big family? Where do you grow up? Are you an only child?
Sort of. No, I have two older sisters.
From the same mom and dad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One of them is my very best friend, and the other one, we are not on speaking terms.
Oh, wow. Are the other two on speaking terms?
Sort of.
Okay.
But there's like an understanding, untreated mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's tough. There's like, that prepped me for life, because that sister was the walking on eggshells, always. That's a
What's
ticking
the
time
age
bomb.
gap?
15 months apart.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
she was
nothing.
my basically twin,
Mm-hmm.
but anything you said could set her off in like a really devastating lash out. And so I became peacemaker, walking on eggshells, really people pleasy, really difficult mom, really difficult sister, semi-difficult sister. And then I was like, easygoing, whatever, you know, and like funny, needed to like break the crazy tension of all the women.
And what did your mom do for a living?
She was an engineer.
Wow, okay.
Which is interesting. And she was like a big boobed Middle Eastern woman who's an engineer. And it was like, it's kind of like being a female comedian. You're just like, well, maybe not. There was like no women doing engineering. So she had her own story, but she was like an example of like, you know, she wanted me to become an engineer. I'm like, I'm all good.
But your mom's like
she's
an anomaly in this industry at that time, are you
oh,
saying?
Yeah.
Like
oh, yeah. She's the only one in engineering
I was
school.
going to say, did she have any like female friends that worked? None.
There was one or two female friends
That's
at work,
about
but they
it,
weren't
though.
engineers. They were the management. There was some and she worked for Honeywell. She worked on like a rocket engine. And this was when I was really young. And then she got laid off and then stayed home. Then went back to work, then stayed home and did that like mom roller coaster where you're like a couple years in career, a couple years of mom. It's weird.
You said Middle Eastern. Is she from the Middle East?
She
like
is born in Israel.
Okay.
Moving on.
And then came here. All right. And what about dad?
He is from Tampa, and his dad ended up in Tampa because he was a New Jersey guy who got a baseball scholarship to Tampa.
Okay.
So it was baseball that brought us. And then he was, I don't know, he was like, my grandpa was a judge in Tampa, and he had a fake gavel, and he would do magic tricks. Very weird guy.
Real judge with a
real
fake
judge
gavel.
with
and
a yeah.
Like why he sentenced you to fucking prison and
And
shit.
then
He's
it
like, when a dove flies.
Yes.
Could you imagine?
It was like
I'm giving you 20 and like boom.
He was Daryl Strawberry's judge.
How many
And
times?
he was
How many
very,
times?
he went really easy on him because he was a ball player.
All right, yeah, we got, hey, look, the
And
Mets were good, yeah.
But then he was like Mr. Jokester.
Mm-hmm.
Now he passed away, and recently my mom was like, well, he was really awkward, like socially awkward. I was like, socially awkward? No, he was magic tricks. She goes, no, that's socially awkward, as you are doing magic
As a
tricks
judge.
to not be a person, or to be like, here's material instead of myself. And I'm like, oh. I thought he was the most extroverted man.
All right, on the cocaine charges for Daryl Strawberry. Let me just pull him out here.
Yes. The gavel
We'll give
made
you 5 years, Daryl.
it made like a crashing sound. So it's and then
A
everyone's like,
gavel anyone could have.
and like things squirted water. And they would be like, oh, funny guy, Ralph Steinberg.
Nobody ever complained about that. Like, can this guy?
Never.
No.
It was Tampa. I mean, no one cares about anything there.
And he was doing that before content was a thing.
Oh,
you know what I
there
mean?
was
These
no
days, if there's a
content.
camera in that court, everybody's loving him probably.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this one guy.
He's doing like, he really did like so many
He
criminal
didn't care
court
about content.
cases.
He just really wanted to that's who he was.
Why do you need to do magic tricks? Just do your judge job.
In court.
That's a man who wanted to be on stage and found his way on a stage.
Mm-hmm. So that's your dad's dad?
Yeah.
Okay. And then dad, what
And
did
then
you
my dad grew up and was like, okay, I'll go. You got to go to law school. And he was the youngest to ever graduate University of Florida for law school.
Okay.
And everyone
Damn,
was like,
I thought you were going to say your family of the school?
at the time, he was the
sure.
youngest law school graduate.
Wow.
And
okay.
he just was very young into kindergarten because he was hyperactive. So my grandmother just put him into kindergarten early. That won't mess up a kid. And then he was funny and jokey, and then forced kind of like, of course you're going to go to law school. Had to go to law school, just kind of banged it out as fast as he could so he could do stand-up.
Okay.
And then he started to do stand-up, came to California, did stand-up, started, I guess it was like a 2-double thing. He was like, there was a comedy club that had contracts. He's like, I'll do some law work if I can be a part owner and perform. And he would like
do you know any of the clubs?
It was called Comedy Corner. And here's the crew. And he filmed it once to sell.
You've seen it?
And he couldn't. No, I haven't
Oh.
seen it. But he paid for cameras. He filmed it and tried to sell it. This was the lineup. It was Dan Whitney, which is Larry the Cable Guy, Jeff Foxworthy, there was Sinbad, and they were like, these guys are half-baked. They're not that great. Like, they were on their way, but this was like their open mic days or their like development days. And my dad's like, oh, they're funny. And
So
they were
that's
like,
when he was working back when those guys were coming
very
up.
new.
I see.
Yeah.
Did he do was Side Splitters around back then? Your dad ever go to
No,
Side
but I
Splitters?
worked there for 2 years.
You did?
In high school. I was a door girl. And I did guest spots, and I would like watch comedians. I was like, this is obviously what I'll do for the rest of my life because it's glamorous.
So, judge who wants to be a performer's son becomes a failed comedian.
And he's pushing comedy, but has a law degree because it's the fallback
Listen,
plan.
can I ask you two things?
Too much.
What the fuck are you doing third generation out here trying to be a performer, number one? And two, do you ever think, I'm sitting here listening to you say, my dad was a stand-up and blah, 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 and it hit me that one day our kids are going to be like, my mom was a stand-up. And I was like, oh no, and hearing it come out of your mouth about us.
And I was just like, well, was he good? Was he rich?
Yeah.
Was he famous? Oh, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
The open mic circuit was real good at the time. Real generous. Yeah, exactly. So you can tell there are children.
Our kids are going to say that out loud.
They're going to have their own podcast, their own special about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go
My
ahead.
tactic, by the way, you can have this, is I'm going to force my kids to do comedy. Force them, perform,
so they hate it.
And then finally one day they're going to be, Mom, I don't want to do stand-up comedy. I want to be a doctor. And then I'll be like, fine, be a doctor.
Yeah,
and so I'm going
support
to
that.
force it until they hate me. And then they're like, I'll never do comedy.
You're third generation performer over here.
Third generation, hopefully first
Second
generation successful. I don't want to be third generation failed.
Hold on.
And then my kids.
Your grandfather was successful. He
failed.
was just applying the
if you became a judge
to the wrong job.
If I quit comedy and became a judge, would I be a successful comedian?
No, you would not.
You're still a failed comedian. Yes, you're a judge. You're a failed comic. Yes, he's a lawyer. A failed comedian.
Did he ever try proper stand up? Your grandfather? Do you know?
Grandfather, no.
No.
But father owned this part owner of a comedy club, and then still so he's doing all these little cases here and there, but a little money here and there. And then somehow, I don't know, meets my mom at a bar. 6 weeks later, they get engaged.
Whoa.
Psychos.
Seems like that's going to work out.
She's loud and crazy and emotional and just yells at baseline. And then he's like, numb to all emotion. I've never seen him cry.
Your whole life?
Never.
Anything?
Nothing.
That's wild to me. It is wild to me. And is it because he's one of those old school dudes?
No.
It's like you don't eat your feelings. It's just because he doesn't have them.
He doesn't have feelings. He's not a tough guy. He's like,
what is he? Just numb? Like, is he
I don't
a zombie? Like, what?
So he has two things he does, and it's sports analogies and inappropriate jokes, very inappropriate, like a misogynistic joke. He's got 3 daughters, and he's like, oh, I wrote this joke, and I'm just like, that is
he's pitching them
wild.
To you.
Why? Oh, every
he's
phone call is an open mic.
Of course, he's pitching them.
Hey, Dad, how are you? I got a good one for you. Do you? Do you have a good one for me? It's not how are you feeling? It's I've got a bit. Did you get my text? That bit was funny, right? And I have to be like, you're not.
This man is established himself through law school in an unprecedented way.
Yeah. No, that was just waiting tables. Yeah. That was waiting tables. Yeah. He was just like, ugh,
that's
whatever.
what I'm like, holy shit, the dude, not only did he get through it, he crushed the whole way through, obviously, to get through that fast. And he's like, whatever with that bullshit. Ugh. This is where my heart. So what is it like growing up with a dad like that? I know you have stories.
Well, I have he morphed into just a lawyer who was running for office a lot. Another way to just get stage time.
What point did he finally hang the mic up and be like, okay, this is...
Still open mics. At Side Splitters. To this day, goes to Side Splitters.
No, he doesn't.
I put him up at the Kibitz room.
At Canners you did?
If I have a theater tour, he wants in.
Does he have 5? Does he
have
5?
Yeah, it's it's bad. They're like a couple prostate jokes, something about women's product. I don't know. I'll have to write for him at a certain point. But anyhow, he is brainwashing me in a good way with the funniest movies. It was I was 7. We're watching Animal House. We're watching just every single comedy. And I really grew up on raunchy comedies that my dad thought were correct for my brain. Everything Steve Martin.
Mm-hmm.
All day, every day, Steve Martin. And that was Mel Brooks and Steve Martin was all I was Snow White? No, not Snow White.
The Jerk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know every word to The Jerk. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Dad. But I really didn't, I didn't watch the other stuff. I watched Clueless. That was good. But it was my education at home was we're watching this, and we would watch Comedy Central together. And that was the cool thing about growing up with him was it was a dad that we were watching Comedy Central together as bonding. And because we and him couldn't have, any other deep conversations. So it was jokies. But in 1990, the year I was born, so I'm the third of 3 daughters, he decides to open up a restaurant that haunts him for the rest of his life. And it was called the Bagel Boudoir.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a breakfast Hooters. So Hooters started in Clearwater. So to him, it wasn't crazy.
Just breakfast titties. That's it. Not brunch or
no,
lunch
it
or
was
dinner
really
like
gross though, because they were strippers from Mons Venus, and they were like,
who's doing the 6 to 10 a.m. shift? The ladies have been up all night on coke or just rolling it.
And they're toothless and tatted up because they're Tampa. This is not even LA or it's Tampa.
What's it
in
called
the 80s. Bagel Boudoir. And they were like, so,
But
okay,
wait.
the news came and the news clip was following a woman in a tea bag, as my mom calls it, a tea bag. I'm a millennial. I call it a thong. She's like, it was tea bags.
I'm thinking that's the top. She's calling a tea bag the thong.
My mom loves to tell the story where they're like, they had women and serving food in tea bags.
Their asses are all out bringing you bagels and lox.
And eggs that were in
That is nasty.
the food was really gross, and that's why it didn't
Toothless,
work.
You know, people
Gross,
don't even take care of their
gross.
own selves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He lost money on this. Like,
wait, here's the crazy
somehow
part. It
lost
opened.
money.
He went all the way into
Yeah,
opening it. No one in his life was able to say, man, I don't know about that.
my mom was like, "What are you doing, you asshole?"
Are they married at the time when he did this?
Yes, they've been married.
Wait, they're still married?
Yes, they're still married.
She's still with his ass?
They're so unhappily married. They're just like, you asshole. Every day is like, my mom wants to tell me my dad's being an asshole. I was like, oh, that'd be great to talk to your therapist about. Of course, she doesn't have a therapist. But I love if someone's like, I go, oh, you should really talk about that with your therapist. And I have to like stay out of the triangulation because she'll be like, your dad the other day. And I was like,
how
not
old are
my
you
problem.
when Bagel Butts opens up?
0.
Oh, you're not even born
I'm like
yet.
1 month old.
Oh, you are.
This
You're
thing
just brand
opens.
new. This is what he's doing with his third.
Old. The third daughter is 1 day old, and he's like, great, let's name her Esther. Bagel Boudoir's opening, be right back. And he'd be at this restaurant. And then I guess the luck of it was that one of the waitresses had a husband who was a trucker who got into a head-on collision and like almost lost a leg. Trucking company had insurance. My dad made bank on that. So it was like he was grabbing money.
How does that work?
Because she just comes in and is like, my boyfriend's in a trucking accident. And my dad's like, ooh, does he need a lawyer?
No, yeah, the whole lawyer
So
thing.
then he can reap the benefits.
That's not ambulance chasing at all. That lady just threw it out there.
She was working. She was in a tea bag giving people schmear and lox.
I think she's giving him a different kind of schmear.
But yeah.
And locks. That's a horrible choice. Fish and thongs is a horrible
It's
choice
really
to eat, and they're bringing it to the table. It's about this high. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where locks. You didn't get locks, sir. Those were scrambled eggs. Like, you might want to take these.
Just like imagine if Canner's Deli was like tits out.
Yeah. That's what I'm imagining. That's ridiculous.
But like the tits are hanging low. At Canner's, their tits go to their belly.
Esther,
So.
did your mom ever go in and check it
think
out
she
to make
went
sure? Like, I want to see what's going on here.
Oh, she went in and would yell.
Oh, God.
So he'd come home and she goes, you fucking asshole.
Oh, she's
I'm going
making
to
a
leave
scene
you.
in
Oh,
there.
every day my mom threatens to divorce. It's like a thing. She's just like, you asshole, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to leave you.
God.
She loves that. She loves that. And then I think my sister was 5, my oldest sister, and would like come in. And I remember she really liked some of the pillows there. And like when it closed, she like got the decorative pillow. And I was like, that looking back is vile and was covered in AIDS. This
No
was
doubt.
like the late
No doubt.
80s Tampa
Yeah.
strippers. Like, so then you give your 5-year-old daughter the like the shop closed down. Here's a pillow. Gross. Covered in
I don't
AIDS.
care what. You got me just here mentally thinking, I don't care what restaurant I'm at. Have all your teeth.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? I would feel like those people, you put them in the bag. You know what I mean? Cook.
What about strippers?
I mean, if you don't have teeth, then that's an acquired taste. Listen,
Right, it's
I
its
ain't got a problem with an old silver one right here. I ain't above an old silver tooth right here. But if you're missing some shit in the the money area here, Go cook.
And
Learn to cook.
it's Tampa, so everyone's just like probably sunburnt. Like they had those leather
God,
tans.
I don't even think of the tans they
White
must have had with those
boobs,
thongs.
brown arms.
Tracks.
Leather arms. Because I don't think sunscreen was a thing until the 2001.
No, hell no.
Like,
in the 80s, no.
Yeah. So then 1990 is the year I was born and was the year it opened.
In 90 it opened. Okay.
And then it closed, unfortunately.
91?
Probably. I think it was 91 or 92.
91.
And then he became more like, okay, I'll be a lawyer more.
Okay,
he was
so
still
that's when
doing
he
some
leans
mics,
into,
but
sure.
that didn't ever stop. And then he goes, raises us, seems like a normal guy, never cries, but like pretty normal.
Doing the lawyer thing at that point.
Yeah, Social Security law. So schizophrenic people, overweight people. If he saw someone that was 400 pounds, he would give them a business card.
And what is the
weird.
angle in that?
You can't work. You can't sit for X amount of time. You have to pee he can argue that you could be disabled. He can, he's very, very good at this. He just can figure out the math on whether someone can get disability benefits and how much. The one great thing is he was doing pro bono work for veterans.
Okay.
For free because they basically made it illegal to make money off of veterans affairs for a while. And then they changed the law and said, you can make money off veterans. So then all this pro bono work, he was an expert. And now he could finally make money off veterans.
Oh, so he was helping vets?
He was helping vets.
All right, good for him.
Bono. Yeah, he is a good guy and has a heart. He has like a...
So
then you're
tell
like...
you about it.
But... The only thing that comes out of his mouth is literally like, the other day I was walking down the aisle of a...
So the way your grandfather would judge with his little...
magic with a side of
drop
judge.
jokes when he's a lawyer?
I don't even know what happens.
Could you imagine? That'd be the worst.
I'm sure he does. Well, also his clients are mentally ill.
You've never sat in a courtroom to watch your dad work?
No, because I think they're in like small meetings.
I see.
And he when I was growing up, one of his clients came to his office and the wooden door was closed and he took like a paperclip and carved his name into one client peed on the chair. The clients are mentally ill.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Disabled people. So
Sure.
it's like there's nothing cute about this.
Okay. Yeah.
But he got to be around midgets and schizophrenic people, and I think he liked that as a comedian or something. He got like a kick out of Tourette's syndrome.
Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Except for the people with Tourette's. Everybody with Tourette's.
Like my client today, she was telling me, it's like he wanted to tell stories about his clients who had Tourette's.
Because he doesn't just have the standard regular clients. He's got the extreme
whack jobs.
Clients. Yes.
People with lobster hands. You know that's like a disease. Like their hands look kind of lobstery. It's like, I don't know. There's a scientific name. You can get disability.
Well, you should get disability for something like that.
And the big thing is, when he didn't win a case, they go, he can be a toll worker. So toll worker is
that's their low bar.
They're like, yeah, you come in with lobster arms.
That's a ditch digger. That's what I used to hear all the time.
Yeah.
Well, ditches, people still go dig ditches.
Yeah,
be a ditch digger.
Digging ditches is hard work. Toll collector became like, and I feel like it was the time in Tampa you'd toss coins into like
the basket.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
you had to have change to do
it. Yeah. And it was everything. There's so many bridges. One time I was with a guy.
You had to keep change in your car if you went through tolls, so you just throw it in a
throwing
basket.
it in a basket.
Man.
And then there's some disabled guy with lobster arms being like, thank you. I mean, thank you. And then my dad's just like, hey, Rick, tell your friends about me.
Let everybody know.
By the way, the other day, there was a black guy at a bar. Dad, stop. And then, well, actually, when I was growing up, because I think you've had bridges and tolls as a kid.
Oh, yeah, I'm down, Maryland.
I was with a guy, and we were going to the beach, and his car was in front of my car, and I was with my sister, and he put his money in, and I pulled up, and the toll booth worker goes, oh, he covered your costs. And I was like, that is chivalry.
That's nice.
It was nice to be a 16-year-old girl. It pays. But I was like, toll booth chivalry.
Toll booths. I forgot about just throwing change in the damn thing. Tell me more about your dad running for office then, you said.
So then I'm in middle school. 6th grade, and he's like, I'm going to run for state legislator. And we were all excited. And he asked me to stand outside the library and collect signatures. You need like 6,000 signatures.
Oh, wow.
Or $50,000. It's like, so then he's like, well, I can pay my daughter 10 cents a signature. Like he came up with something where I was like pestering people at the library to, are you a registered voter? Like I was put in that position as a 6th grader with my sisters. We were told to canvass door to door, and then he had 6 billboards and t-shirts.
What did they say? Do you remember his campaign slogan or anything?
Yeah, it was something like experience in helping people. And I was be like, oh, I help people, helping people, help people, help people. I was just like always making fun and like roasting. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to help people who help people. And I was like, okay, all right. And he ran, and we went to these political things, and we were the political family. And then the smear ads came out where my mom got a letter in the mail that was like, don't vote for Michael Steinberg. He's the naked bagel. They called him the naked bagel.
That's what they named it. The people named
He's
him
a bagel pimp.
Boudoir.
He's a bagel pimp.
He's a bagel pimp. He's a bagel.
So then it became
Naked bagel. That's what they're all calling it.
And the whole family is humiliated, and we are now being smeared for our bagel pimp father, and ads are coming in the mail about he's a bad guy and a skeezy guy. They tried to link him with Mons Venus in 2001 Odyssey because it was like there's these strip clubs, famous strip clubs in Tampa. They're grimy, and it's 2001 Odyssey, which was supposed to be futuristic in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. I see.
2001 is now for belly button rings and Fred Durst. So it's like, what? And then the Mons Venus. So they were like, he's grimy. He's with these guys. And like at the time, I felt like he was a really just normal dad taking us to school in his gigantic van. Like it looked kind of a van, but it was a whatever. And then he also picked up a midget client at the same time who was a TV personality named Dave the Dwarf. And he goes, I want to be tossed. There was a law that you could not get tossed.
I know that name.
Dave the Dwarf.
Dave the Dwarf?
He's half black, half Slapaho Indian. That's his tagline.
I definitely do not know that name. But when you told me what you told me outside before the show, I keep going though. So
he's getting these clients.
Dave the Dwarf wants to fight legislature
to be tossed
because there's already
illegal.
There's already a law in place to not throw these.
Dwarf tossing is illegal, and my dad.
So he wants to overthrow dwarf tossing so he can be thrown.
So he's on the radio and he goes, "I'm a dwarf and I want to be tossed," and that was like his tagline. He'd come on the radio every morning and 93.3 FLZ, and they'd be like,
maybe that's where I heard of this from. He was like a radio
guy for sure.
And so he fought to overturn the law.
Someone called my dad and was like, "There's a midget you gotta meet," and my dad's like, "Sign me up."
This is an ad by BetterHelp. If you're a fan of this show, you know it's okay to struggle. Real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it so you can be at your best for yourself and everyone in your life. You hear me talk about therapy on this show a lot, almost every week. You've heard guests on here share their experience about getting into therapy, me personally about getting into therapy, how it's helped all of us. There's no shame in showing up for yourself, all right? So with over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's convenient too. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/honeydew. That's betterhelp.com/honeydew. Now, let's get back to the do.
And so he meets Dave and he becomes like a close family friend. My dad goes on like 2020 and Sally Jesse Raphael, and they're doing like, again, my dad's like loving the TV spots. He's like, I got an open mic joke for you. And he's just like loving all this attention. And that was also, he's like, oh, and I'm going to run for office. Okay. Then the office is like smearing him. He's a bad guy, whatever, bagel pimp. And then he loses the election. He wins the primary and loses, but I had not had my soul crushed in the kind of way that I really wanted my dad to win. And I thought the billboards and the t-shirts and canvassing, he's a good guy too. He had way more experience helping people than the other person. Like, I was like, come on. So he lost. And I remember a sadness, like just defeat and disappointment. I guess I thought he would win. Then why the fuck did we do all that?
Mm-hmm.
I really felt like the whole family pitched in. And my sister was a freshman in high school and she got all of her friends to go to the polls. And I was like, we did all this stuff. How could we have lost? And then he decided to run again and he lost. And then he ran for, that was state legislator again, then Congress, and he lost. So he kept promoting himself.
Okay, yeah.
And then he runs for president and gets on the ballot.
No, he did not. Your dad.
He was on the ballot.
Was he really?
He really was.
What year?
I think 2016.
Who was he going against? Was it Trump?
It was, well, it would have been Trump, but he's a Democrat. And he's, like I say that, he's a Democrat. And which I love about him, but like, you're a loser in Tampa if you put Democrat next to your name. You're a loser.
No matter what.
This is evangelical Christians who don't believe in evolution. You're a loser. So Michael Steinberg, the Democrat who loves midgets, bagels, and titties, he apparently, but
I mean,
sixth
trust
grade,
me, y'all, I'm right up your alley.
Yeah, he's like,
trust me, y'all.
I'll give you what you want. I know what you want, and I know how to give it. I can help you helping people help. Help people. Experience in helping people help people. And I, as a kid, I took one of the smear ads and I parodied it to like kind of make my family laugh. Mm-hmm. So we're all kind of hurt. We're getting like, this piece of shit bagel pimp. And I change it and I smear the other guy and I exaggerate the smears of my dad. And I'm like, he's never been to college. Like I like I just was trying to make a laugh. And that was like my little smear campaign parody in sixth grade. And then he runs, and I think I was probably a freshman or sophomore in college, and Bernie Sanders, no, this was probably after college or something. Somehow I'm a young woman and I'm excited about the future. Bernie Sanders is running, being like, the 1% of the 1%. And Hillary Clinton is like our first female candidate. And I just was like energized by that. And my dad took me to New Hampshire for this like caucus, whatever exciting moment where you could, all the Democratic candidates were there and they were doing speeches or whatever. And my dad was running. And so I wasn't allowed to be in the Hillary group and I wasn't allowed to be in Bernie Sanders group. And he got me a Vote for Michael Steinberg t-shirt. And it was only 2 people wearing that shirt.
You and him?
Mm-hmm. And so you have...
Y'all couldn't find it.
You have all the Bernie bros.
The fucking midget couldn't come get one, man. Come on, man.
Why am I here? And it was like, it dawned on me that I've been punked. He's like, I want you to come with me to see Hillary. I'm like, I can meet Hillary Clinton? Oh, cool. And he's like, yeah, wearing a Vote for Michael Steinberg shirt. And I'm like, what the fuck? But I did get a selfie with Hillary. I was like, let's get a selfie. And it was the second time I met her because my dad likes to take me to like random political events. And meanwhile, my poor sister was duped into becoming a lawyer and working for his law firm.
Man, so we've kept it in the family with comedy and law then.
I know.
Can I ask you a question real quick that's bugging me, and I'm sure the other people want to know because we've sort of...
My eyeliner's off?
No. We sort of got off this story. Did they change the midget toss law? Were they successful in overturning the law? And was midget tossing a thing again?
I think that they like... I think he was tossed, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. We can.
That's fine. Yeah.
We're
not going to fucking really regulate.
But the worst was that in Sally Jesse Raphael, there were midgets on stage getting upset, saying, no, these tossing laws are important. And then Dave going, I want to be tossed. And then my dad being like, well, the thing is, and I'm like, the fact that he was going against like innocent midgets who didn't want to be abused in bars.
Well, see, I'm 52, so I remember a show back in the day that was midget tossing, and I want to say shit was on ABC, and I think Mr. T was a...
That feels correct.
I feel like Mr. T was a sort
like
of
Hulk Hogan,
early
Mr.
on.
T.
I don't know about Hulk Hogan, but early on, I think the way I'm wrong a ton, Esther, but I feel like the genesis of Mr. T might have been that he was this bar guy that was, and they would throw the midget through a door, and they would ring a bell or some shit like that. I was a kid when it came on.
And you loved it.
Loved it. I mean, who's not watching that? This fucking black guy with a mohawk and feathers and shit's throwing this little midget through a door. And you got to ring a bell. I would have took just through the door. You know what I mean? But also you got to ding, 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 ding.
And they make it.
Wait, Kirsten's looking it up. Look. What's it say there?
Dwarf tossing is the place you can order a midget and tossing in Tampa. They reversed it.
They reversed it.
Look, my dad's a good lawyer.
There it is. Dwarftossing.com. 24 hours serving all
I know what your
US.
birthday party's going to be.
Way to go. Your dad did it, goddamn.
And he was at my bat mitzvah of this midget, and everyone was like, whoa, Dave the Dwarf. And I'm like, ugh. Close family friend, Dave the Dwarf. Please don't throw him. He wants to be. Please don't.
Would he do that kind of shit if he was at your event like that? Would he be like, hey, it's cool if someone
He
wanted
put
to
a top hat on that was a tray, and it was shot glasses, and he walks around with you. But it's like basically the height of the table.
But would anybody get sauced up enough to throw his ass?
I don't think anyone at my bat mitzvah was very strong.
No.
Maybe my lesbian sister, but other than that. She was if you said the wrong thing, she would have been like, shut the fuck up. But no, it was a pretty tame bat mitzvah. The theme was Hollywood. We had a casting couch. But I loved that part of like my dad forcing me to be part of his like political thing, and I was like, you're losing so much. And I feel like the very last election he may have been on the ballot, and people are like, that's crazy. But like, why the fuck are you running when you know you're not going to win?
Do you ask him that? Like, what is the point of putting effort into something you know is going to end with what you don't want?
Attention.
There it is. Yeah.
I don't.
Hey, my name's on the ballot. It's enough. So that's.
Oh, and he'll be like, you should run, and I'm like, I will not.
Look, I can't imagine even. Anyone that's being born anytime recently is born, well, since 96. So since 97 on, how old would someone be born in 97? 2007,
42?
2017, 28.
20. Oh, okay.
28 years old, right? Born in 2007.
Right. I went older than me. It's younger than me.
So even at 28, you'd start to be in politics already. No one now exists without a history on the internet. And you talk about the smear campaigns and shit, like how easy to go find an old tweet from something when you're 11 and you said some dumb shit or what. Like I can't imagine moving forward anyone's going to want to get into politics because all they're going to do anymore is no longer debate who's smarter, better, fitter.
Yeah.
It
has to be a Nepo baby.
Trash them down.
It has to be a Nepo baby.
That's the problem.
Because
it's
you breed
keep being all that.
But everything's Nepo baby. Like the basketball players who can afford all the travel teams, all the this, all the training. Yeah, LeBron's son can afford that. Like who's the greatest actors are getting awards. Yeah, their parents were actors and they went to the best acting school and their parents helped them. I feel like the world is like a politician's son will be. I mean, our next president is Barron Trump.
He's going to be one of them. He's probably, if he runs, he's probably going to be one of them. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Not the next one. He's too young to be the next one.
I don't know.
He'll be one of them.
But it feels like all the world is so difficult that you have to have a parent who does, and then you just do that. Like, I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But it just feels like the only person who's going to be suited for politics is a Kennedy and a Schwarzenegger and a whoever's parents are like, you're in politics.
Yeah. Are you, in a way, sort of, and I don't want to say it this way, but hear me out because you're a mom with two. Are you sort of, in a way, your dad's favorite because you do the comedy thing? You know what I mean?
Well, Favorite would involve him being interested
Oh yeah,
in me.
having feelings. He never says, "I'm proud of you, Esther." Like you're doing.
When I force
comedy
him. So way fast forward, I have 2 kids and I'm postpartum with my second child in LA, and my parents come to visit. And my dad's just like drinking coffee, doing crosswords,
and he's not
telling jokes in the middle of our house. Of course, I'm like, breastfeeding, and I'm sad and figuring all the mom stuff out, especially with the 2 kids where I'm putting all my attention on the toddler because the infant doesn't know shit. So I have to ignore the infant to not hurt my toddler's feelings. So I'm like playing this game of like, I love my toddler. Oh, this thing. Don't even worry about that. I love you. Don't be jealous. I love you. And I'm like trying to play this game while being like postpartum and all that. And my dad was awkward and telling me about the book he's writing. He's writing this new book or the election he wants to run for. And I'm just like, I wrote down with a piece of paper, how are you? What friends do you have from high school that you're still in touch with? How has balancing things been for you? And I handed it to him and I was like, just read it. And he literally, like a robot, goes, how are you feeling? I'm like, thank you for asking. And I answered it genuinely, but I was like, that moment, I was like, he won't even ask me like,
wait a minute. I see. These were questions you wanted him to ask
Yes.
you. I thought you were just giving him, can you
read a script that says, how are you?
I see.
The words, how are and you. Just read. I'm going to write it.
That's a question you wouldn't get
It's
just on
English.
the regular.
Never.
How you doing?
How you doing was like, kind of like, oh, how you doing? How's it going?
And when he...
The how you doing was a comedian. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah. Are you...
Like, is that... Do you want to know how I'm doing?
Yeah.
No, we want you to just... We're about to launch into a joke.
What about when you have your first child? The man doesn't cry show emotion.
No,
that's
nothing.
what I'm saying.
No.
Are your
Physically,
children his
he's
first
there.
grandchildren?
Yes, and the only. Physically, he's there.
I hear you.
Mentally, emotionally.
Even mentally may be there a little bit, but
Mentally,
zero emotion.
Oh, he's sharp as can be. He's doing crossword puzzles.
Grandchild
He's
for the first time and crying?
No crying.
Wow.
He's holding and singing songs, like parody songs, like Weird Al Yankovic song, like whatever. Like you're holding a kid and you just launch into like peekaboos.
Yeah. I lost on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Babe.
He was like Harvey and Sheila Hart, like a Hava Nagila parody. Yeah. And I'm like, alrighty. And so I think some shit went down with my birth that I finally was like, Mom and Dad, this is like something happened. There was a doctor who I couldn't tell. I didn't know this doctor, but he was the second doctor. My doctor's great. The second one made me feel yucky.
You talking about for your first child?
Second.
Okay,
at Cedars-Sinai.
You don't say another word. I'm well aware of that hospital.
And I wrote a complaint and everything. I went into therapy and all that. And I was just like really rocked. A, I'm postpartum. That's basic blues. And then B, I'm trying to piece together what happened because I felt like he was more touchy-feely than a gynecologist should be.
Whoa.
And my doctor, who I went to every week, was amazing. This doctor I met that same day was
Why are you now having to go to this man?
No, they were partnered to do my C-section.
I see.
I also went back to my doctor and said, why are you working with this guy? His bedside manners. Like I became extremely vocal because I said, I have a window. And when I talk to my dad about things, when it comes to men, he sides with men.
No.
He's innocent. He can't possibly believe that anyone in the whole wide world would be inappropriate. He's a kind soul and sees women as women, but makes misogynistic jokes because they're funny.
Also sounds very lawyer of him to take a stance.
But sometimes I'll say like,
way.
he said this and da-da-da. And then it's like, well, and then he'll make some kind of excuse. Or one time I said something about the wage gap, women's wage gap. Thank you for nodding. And he denied it. And I got irate. I was like, Google it. And he Googled it. And then he became aware that there's a wage gap. And I was like, I shouldn't have to tell you. And when I do tell you, you shouldn't have to
gaslight me and deny me.
Totally. But I think I do believe it comes from an innocent place. He didn't know. The idea that women get paid less for the same work is not fair. And therefore, how could it possibly be?
Why would they do that?
Yeah, but I'm also just like, really? Are you that? So at the same time, he's brilliant. He's also so out of it.
So let's go back to this other fucking doctor. You've reported him to your main doctor who you love. What's his take on that? And also, isn't there someone in the room with you while this man's being extra touchy? Isn't that a law? There's supposed to be a female, right?
So there was a woman nurse who was doing something with me and a pillow holding my hand. Was supposed to hold my hand and gave or like there was a pillow. And they were doing, this was the moment that they put the epidural in my back. So if you fuck it up, I could be like paralyzed. If you do a good job, we do a C-section. It is great. So this is a nerve-wracking situation, but I'm not that nervous. This is my second C-section. I'm like, yeah, go for it. And the nurse comes up to me and then this other doctor goes, you can leave. I got it. She goes, really? She sounded surprised. Really? What? And he goes, yeah, no, I'm fine. She goes, oh, thank you. Holds my hand. And there's a pillow, but he has the pillow in front of his crotch. And I'm getting a epidural. So I'm still. And he was just like really excessively rubbing my hands and going like, relax, relax. It's okay. Relax. And I was like, I want to kill myself right now. I'm going to disassociate and think about this later. I'm in the middle of my birth. And I just was like having an out of body, like, what the hell is happening? I was like, please don't. My birth happens. He volunteers to do the catheter to put my pee-pee hole in the back.
I shiver even hearing it, yeah.
And I have a curtain up. So I don't know what's happening.
You can't see anything down there.
No.
Yeah.
And finally, they bring my husband in. He's been outside. And he comes in and we're just doing our C-section again. And I'm all good. I'm numbed up. I can't feel anything. So like, we're good. And then the baby comes out and pees onto the doctor's face, or not face, probably arm. And he goes with a joke. The millisecond.
Oh, not another one of these motherfuckers throwing jokes on you.
Peas on doctors. This kid's going to be a lawyer.
The worst one.
And now I'm like, did you have issues with lawyers? Sir, doctor, you got a lot of lawyers up your ass.
That's a funny thing to say, isn't it?
It's a real weird fucking...
Sure is.
A lot of lawyers pissing on you. It's also like lawyers and doctors. It's like they're respected, but also they can be filth and they can be good guys. They can be bad guys. We don't know. So yeah, I'm shook. And
can I ask you, like, when you say a little more touchy-feely, where?
That rub.
The hands and
His
stuff?
pelvis was very close to my
my
gurney.
because you said the pillow was in there, so he's all
He's like
on.
holding my hands and kind of moving around in
to
his
a
hips.
pregnant lady who they're about to dice open and pull a kid.
Where the fuck was that female nurse?
That's 100%.
She was coming to me. I love women. Honestly, women can rub their boobies on me and I feel like heaven. Like when a nurse grazes me with a boob or a dental hygienist has like a tit on my shoulder, I like it. There's something like they're like giant pillows, like, yeah, push it. I'm like, yeah, how are my teeth? And like, I love a woman's touch. I've never in my whole entire existence felt uncomfortable with a woman's touch. And I usually feel pretty good about men because I've had good men. My dad's a good guy. He's never cried or anything, but he's a good guy. My husband's a good guy. I'm not a damaged, like, coming from, I hate men. I love men, and I'm thrilled I have sons. But I just was confused. Was I touched inappropriately or was this a touchy-feely doctor? I go in for my 6-week checkup or something, and I am getting my vitals taken by this nurse who's done my vitals throughout my pregnancy. I know her. I love her nails. And I'm like, hey, girl. And she's like, hey, how's your baby? And I go, yeah, my baby's great. The birth was weird. And I said the name of the doctor and I was like, he's weird. And she goes, he's over there. She gets quiet. She's like, he's over there. Don't say much. He's over there. And I'm like, okay. She walks into the room and shuts the door and she goes, he has very predatory vibes.
Wow. Co-signing on a co-worker from a co-worker who sees him often, not just this one exchange.
But the worst part is I'm in love with my actual gyno. This guy was such a good guy and so sweet. So I approached him and was like, this is what happened.
I'm sure it's not easy
what
to
can we
do.
do
Yeah.
about it? And he was like, that's like, there was a point, he basically launched into some story about how there was a point in time where doctors were grabbing butts in the office. That was supposed to make me feel better?
Yeah.
And I was like, I was just like, you're an amazing doctor. This is the very last time I'm going to step foot in this office. I'm done.
Oh, good for you.
And then
You did. Okay.
I contacted Cedars to do a report just in case there was a woman before me or a woman after me.
Mm-hmm.
I
wanted
gotta
to ask
do it.
if you knew.
If I don't do a footprint, then the next woman or the woman before me doesn't get validated because they need like 82. You need 82 women to be believed.
Nuh-uh.
Or not 82. I'm exaggerating. You need more than one.
Your dad only needs one.
Yeah.
Your dad only needs one.
If my dad needs one, but 82.
Preferably a midget one.
Yeah.
But I only need one.
So I like put in the formal complaint. Felt really good about it. Just like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I did the work I had to do.
Can I ask you, when you put the complaint in, is this a digital thing now, or do you speak to someone?
I did a handwritten letter.
Okay.
Printed it out and mailed it to Cedars-Sinai.
Okay.
With a formal complaint, attention, whatever. What they said on the website was to send in a letter and attention, whatever. And then I have like what feels like a private eye investigator. She came over to my house.
Whoa.
And she said that they will do a thorough investigation.
Is she work for Cedars?
I actually
Or is she
never
like a
talked to her
neutral- a
since
third
then.
person? Oh.
And therefore, she was just a person to listen to me and then throw my claim in the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. But I
Came to your home.
But I have a paper trail of all of it. So basically, I want to make sure that the next for the next girl.
I hear you.
I don't expect anything whatsoever to come out of this other than if the next girl needs me, I'm here for you. But I also was like, I recovered. I'm good. I'm fine. Like nothing. I don't think I was like damaged a point of like no return. I was just like touched in ways that I was like, hey, if you're a gyno, have a little bit of bedside manner. And by the way, my gyno, perfect angel, perfect example of how to treat a woman. So it's like, I know what it is like to be in a very platonic relationship with my doctor. And I also know what it's like to be with someone who's predatory vibes, who's a little too touchy-feely on day of my C-section of all days. But luckily, my son took care of it. Little pee on the face. On. No, I was like moving on, but now I'm with my mom and my dad and my newborn, and this is all coming back, and I'm mad. So then it becomes like, I'm going to talk to my dad about it. And the jokes started flying. And I was like, I'm going to murder him if I hear one more joke, because I was in a postpartum hormonal rage.
I'm laughing because I can only imagine you're about to kill him.
And I'm just hulking out. Yeah. And I was like, like I am hulking out.
And he's not stopping.
And he goes, I can tell that milk isn't hormone free.
Oh my God. Also, that's a good joke. That pissed me off twice because I'm like, that's not fucking good. It is a good
He goes, 2 C-sections, they should put a zipper down there.
And you're trying to be like, Dad, I think this guy was in a
And he's like, I don't think you have a good case. I'm like, ugh. You don't have a good case. There's not enough hard evidence. Shut up. If you want to sue him, then, Cedars has way more. And I'm like, I don't want to sue anyone because I'm lazy and you only want to represent midgets. I just want to do a formal complaint so that the next woman has evidence that this isn't the first moment. That's it. And he's like, well, if this comes back to you, it's like he has a reason not to pursue. He's like, if you ever are like, should I or not? Like, call my dad. He'll give you like, drop the case. Like, I think something bad happened. Moving on. Got any new jokes? Okay. And I said, what's your fucking problem? And he said he has Asperger's.
It took all this time for somebody to be like, what's your fucking problem? Oh, I have Asperger's. And he started all along.
63 years old? First time ever I'm hearing this.
Wait, is he officially diagnosed?
He went online and did a test.
Of course, like everybody does. You also have AIDS if you go
yeah,
online and do a test. Yeah.
But I'm sure, like, something's
Does
up.
that add up now, though, when you really look back at it? Do you think
Never
that's...
a tear in his eye. But now when I'm in therapy, I go, well, my dad never emotionally, but he was there physically. I always say, like, my graduation, he was right there. And my recitals, he was right there. Did he ask me how I was? No, he told me about his new client with lobster hands. And like, my therapist, and I may disagree with her, was like, emotional absence is can be a form of child abuse.
I mean, everything is
sure,
abuse
but
these
hearing
days.
her say that,
yes.
I would never accuse him of child abuse.
Yeah.
Ever. He's the most incredible human. He shows up at the capacity.
I think there needs to be a new word for abuse. I think abuse is thrown around heavly a lot too. You know?
Let's come
it's
up.
Definitely
There's a rainbow.
Child neglect. Maybe it's neglect.
Or just like little naughty no moments of dad freaked out a little. He's never freaked out. That's the other thing is he's exploded like 3 times, and one I got arrested for shoplifting. But
he lost it on that one, huh?
Kind of. He's like, we don't love you, and I'm like, okay, fair enough.
The lawyer judges.
Yeah, my mom's like, we can no longer look at you in the eyeballs. I was like,
in the eyeball.
I get it. And they're like, they grounded me for a year.
Wow, did they hold to that?
Mm-hmm.
Your
and
dad
they said I
didn't
could
give you
do school stuff. So I became a cheerleader. I was in the mathletes because I needed to get out of my house because my parents hated me. But I would so I was like football team, and like guys would ask me out, and I just said no. I rejected every
for a full year.
I'd come up. I was like, I'm really busy, and no. And they were like, who's this rejector over here? And I was just rejecting everybody. And I'm like, well, if you want to go to the football game, I'll be there. I didn't want to go to the football game. But it was the only place I could go to leave my house that was school affiliated. Anyways, I ended up getting like all straight A's, graduated 9th in the class, only because they told me they wouldn't love me if I didn't get, like that was the way I could repair our relationship was straight A's.
I see.
And then I graduated the top of the class, and I was like, obviously I want to go to NYU and be an actress and want to go to New York to do stand-up. And I applied to like 10 schools only in New York City. And everyone was like, it's too cold. And I went, and my dad paid for it. So,
did he?
Slow clap for my dad for paying for college. That will always be on my shoulders. Like my dad paid for college, for dress up and make-believe college. NYU, you dress up, play make-believe, and this poor man wasted so much money on this stupid school. It was amazing, but also so stupid. So stupid. Theater
but
school.
You have
is
a good
dumb.
relationship today.
Really good relationship.
Right. That's what's all about.
Because I said, that's it. I'm going to talk about you on stage and I'm going to roast you. Because I had always really protected him. And now I'm on stage saying my dad is autistic. And here's what this is what was it like growing up with him. And once I made money off of it, jokes, I was like, okay, we're good. This is material. But forever and ever, it was just like, the best is that my father-in-law weeps at everything.
All right. So you got a balance here.
So I married a man who's always wanted a dad who wasn't choking up at every Shabbat dinner.
Okay.
And he got his robot father-in-law. And I wanted a dad who was not a tin man, who had soul and could cry. And that's my father-in-law. And now I'm like obsessed. And I write jokes about my father-in-law, but he is like, you could say like, how's your day? And he's like,
oh, he's over there.
And he turns bright red and he's like, Baruch Hashem, things are good. Like he's not even New York. I'm giving him a New York accent. He's just a Denver man who turns purple, red, like the colors trying to hold in the tears. And then the speeches are choked. He cannot get through a sentence. And I'm like, I love this man. And Noah's like, oh God, not again.
Worked out in the end.
And so I'm like I love that man. And then my husband is emotionally intelligent and is really tapped in the ways that I feel so disappointed. Like someone did something inappropriate, like have my back, not theirs. I don't even care if I'm lying. Just have my back.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later. I always believe that for partners. Like, look, even if you're fucking wrong, I'm siding with you. When we get in the car, I'll be like, you're fucking wrong.
Ride or die.
But in the public,
you.
I got your motherfucking back. We're wrong together in public. In the car, I'm like, you fucked that up, right? You got to be able to be real.
And what about our kids? Like, you want to give them the character to be like, you did something wrong, or there's two sides to this, but also, I got your fucking back. Yeah. I will go bury the body with you, of course, but you're grounded.
But this is not okay. Esther, thank you for coming and doing this episode.
Thank you for having me.
This was fun, man. Your dad seems wild. I'm glad he's a good dad, though.
He might hit you up.
We'll see. I might be looking for a lawsuit. Will you please one more time? Oh, no, wait. I want to ask you before we wrap up, advice you'd give to your 16-year-old self. I don't want to forget that. So after everything we've talked about now, what would you tell 16-year-old Esther?
Just like have more sex. More casual sex before marriage. I really wanted to like be a good girl, and then I found my husband. I was like, the advice, I don't even, I'm like, we're going to fail a bunch. So that's embrace those and enjoy life before fucking kids.
Yeah. That
freedom before kids is like, can we bottle that up and sell it? You don't know you have it until it's gone. And I'm like, there was some more freedom, and I could have had some more freedom.
You could squeeze more out of it.
Like my husband tells you a story about having sex with a Brazilian hooker. I don't have a story about having sex with a Brazilian hooker. And I would have really liked to. So he's up here being like, oh yeah, when I was single, ba-bang, ba-bang. And I'm like, well, I'm missing a couple of those.
All right.
So ladies out there, get it in while you can before your Prince Charming comes.
Promote everything you'd like one more time,
So
please.
the Shmere Campaign.
Yeah.
We got Shmere Campaign. It's my baby. We got Burning Bush. It's free on Amazon. And then Shmere Campaign, there's a pay to play, and it will be free soon. And so I'm posting clips on YouTube. I'm posting on the Instagram, and I'm located in Vegas doing shows every month and all the time. Las Vegas. Follow me on Instagram. Esther.Steinberg. And vote for my dad when you see him on the ballot.
He's going to be back on the ballot?
I'm sure do you think? Should we bet on it?
He's never going to stop, probably. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
As always, Ryan Sickler on all your social media, ryansickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.